Okay guys, welcome back to episode 9 of our Asteroids game. Today we're going to be working on the... what are we going to be working on? I've already forgotten. We're going to be working on the particle system. That involves making like a little animation that will play once off whenever you either shoot an asteroid or you as the player collide with an asteroid. So when the bullet collides with one of the asteroids, it's going to play, and when the player actually collides with the asteroid, we're going to play it. It shouldn't take too long. There is a bit to do. We can jump into here and have a look quick. So we have got quite a bit here to do, but most of this is just making the actual particle system, and I think we only really have to write 1 or 2 lines of code, so it shouldn't take too long. But as you can see, we're on episode 9 and we have only got another 2 episodes after this, so this is the third final episode, and then we've got episode 10, which we're going to be implementing the score and actually making like a reference in the game so you can see what your score is. And I think I might also add in like a little life indication so you can see how many lives you've got. And then the final episode is going to be the UI continued, and that is going to be involved with creating the game over state. So we're going to create a game over once you have finished your lives, obviously, and then it's going to present this menu with a little message at the bottom that will say press some random button to restart the game. So that's what we've got left in this game. But then after this series, we are going to be starting a new series, and that is going to be a brick stacker game. And here's the little bit of the art that I've played. So the object of the game is slabs are gonna fly in from different directions on the screen, and you have to tap on the screen or tap the mouse button or a key button, and depending on where you tap it on this one, where the brick or the slab is at the point of you press the button or whatever it is, it's going to stop in that place, and you're gonna have to try and stack them right on top of each other, because if you have an overlapping stack, it's gonna cut that block in half, or whatever the overlap is. And obviously if you have an overlap and it cuts it, it makes the block smaller and smaller, which will make the game harder and harder. So that is the game that we're going to be working on next. That should start next week, hopefully. But let's go ahead and close this and start this episode, because this episode is going to be quite long. Hopefully not. Don't know why I said hopefully. But let us go and start this by switching over to Unity, by simply doing that. So what do we got first? Today we are going to work on a particle effect, and that involves creating a particle effect. So let's go and create in our hierarchy a new particle effect. So let's see, where do we do this? Effects, I think, particle system. So that is what it's going to be, but we're going to change it up a bit because that's not what we want. So first of all, let's double click on that so we can focus on it, wherever it is. So the first thing we want to do is we want to change the duration to 1 second only, because we don't want it to be long. We only want it to play like for a second as soon as the collision happens. We also don't want it to loop, so we'll get rid of that. We only want it to play once. Then we want to set the duration to 1 second, which we already did. That's the duration, like we did at the beginning. Then we want to change the start lifetime to 0.5. Let's see what that looks like. Cool. And then we want to change the start speed to 1. So where's start speed? Start speed needs to be 1. Let's see what that looks like. Cool. So that does look slow, but that's because the particles, these small things, are really big. So let's go and change the start size to 0.05 and see what that looks like. So that looks a little bit better. I might make that a lot smaller by putting another 0 in there. And then if we play that, okay, that's a little bit too small. So we'll get rid of that 1 0. Just make it 0.05 like that. Cool. Then we obviously want to turn off play on awake, because we don't want the effect to play when the game starts. We only want it to play on collision. Then what we also want to do is we want to change the simulation space to our world, so it doesn't what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word. Anyway, change the sim. Okay, so now that should be it for that. Now let's go and work on our emissions. So rate over time, what do we need this to be? This needs to be 0. Rate over distance can stay 0 as well. What we do need to change is we need to add a burst. So let's go and click on our plus icon, and then time we will leave at 0. Count will change to 10, or we could probably, let's make about 20. Let's see what that looks like. Probability we'll set at 1 because we want it to happen. Count we set to 20, so that's good. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to change the shape. So we can take that off, all of those can be ticked off, and the shape we obviously want to change. So shape we want to change from cone to circle, like that. Radius we want to change to very, very small. So let's go and change radius from 1 to 0.0001, I think. Let's try that. Cool, so that's fine. So let's go, because, okay, so this looks a bit weird. It all looks like a little bit of a like a straight line. So let's go and reset our transform to see if that works. So let's play. Okay, where's it gone? It's gone up here because we reset it. So if we click on that and we press play, it should look like it's a circle now. So click on our particle system and press play. So that looks much better. You can see how it's coming out in like a circle, which is great. That's what we want. So what's next? We've done our reset transform, we've done our radius. Now let's go and make our particles fade out. So how do we do that? Where is this? Arc, random, no. Can anyone see fade out? Where do I do this? Okay, I can't remember where we do that. Am I missing something? Shape. Actually, hold on. Let's see. Start color, start rotation, 3D. I remember where this is. I just can't find it. We need to change the color. Okay, so that's not there. That is in. I remember now. It is in. What is it? It's color over lifetime. That's where it is. So let's click on there. We'll tick that first, and then click on here. So in here, what we want to do is we want to create a little bit of a fade. So obviously our particles will start at a bright color of white, and then we will add in a new what's it called? A new like halfway. So we'll make it about 50%. Just put 50 in there. We'll change the alpha to full alpha, and then for the next where we want it to fade out, we'll set that equal to 0 so that it fades out quite quickly. Well, let's make this equal to 60 so that we get like a quick fade. So we'll go and close that, and that should be fine. So the next thing we want to do is we want to change the renderer of the particle effect. So we want to change it from, we want to change the material here to our default one. So let's go and say, where is it? Default sprite, I think it's this one. No, therefore this one. Our default sprite. So we'll click that. So let's play this and see what it looks like. So now it looks like it's a little little squares that have been burst out from the center of the player, which is what we want. So let's see what's next. Let's see, render, we've done that, use default sprite. So that's it. So now we can go and start coding this and see how it works. So for this, let's go and open up our global or game manager script, edit our script. So in here, what we want to do is we want to, first of all, we need to get some sort of reference to our particle system. So let's go and say public, so we can drag and drop this into our what's it called? I don't remember what it's called. Unity editor. That's what it's called. So public particle system, and we can call this our explosion. So that is fine. And then obviously, like I said, we want to play this explosion whenever the player dies, but also when an asteroid gets destroyed. So the first thing we can do is, in our player died here, we can go and say this dot explosion dot transform dot position is equal to the, what's it called, asteroid. Asteroid. No, I'm doing this wrong. I'm doing the asteroid one, not the player one. Okay, so let's do this correctly. So this dot explosion dot transform dot position is equal to this dot player dot transform dot position. So what that is going to do, it is going to set the particle system's position to the position where our player is. So if we jump into here, if we are playing the game and we collide with an asteroid at this point, this is the point where our particle system will play. Where if our player was here and it collided with an asteroid, that's where it will play, and so on. So it's just going to take the current location of our player and place that as the current position where we want to instantiate the particle system. So let's go back to our code here. So now that we've set the position, we now want to go and play the effect. So how do we do that? We do that by simply going this dot explosion dot play. Simple, just like that. So let's go and save that, and let's go play the game and see if this actually works. Hopefully it does, because if it does, we can move on creating the what's it called, the destroy asteroid method or function that will destroy the asteroids. So let's play and see if we... Okay, so it's obviously it's not going to work because we have not dragged in our explosion into here. So let's go and do that. And I still think we need to change the speed of our asteroids because they're very, very fast. So maybe we'll do that just now, in a few seconds. So let's see if this works. What we got? Okay, so there you go. You can see that if we collide with an asteroid, or if an asteroid collides with one of us, well, you can see the explosion, particle effect, whatever it's called, happening. So that's what we want. So what's next? Now let's just go and change the speed of our asteroids because they're quite fast. Where do we do that? Asteroid speed, let's say about 30. We'll try that. Play the game quick and see if that's fast enough. Play the game when it eventually starts. Oh, we didn't press play, that's awkward. Okay, so let's see how fast our asteroid is. Fast enough. I still think they're a bit too fast. Let's go and change that even more to about, let's go 25. Save that and then play the game. So while that's loading, let's go into our, what is it? Where do we need to do this? In our asteroids, I think. No, in our game manager. So in our game manager, right on top of our player dies, we are going to create a destroyed asteroid function. So here, let's go and say public void, and this will call asteroid destroyed, and we want to pass in an actual asteroid into here so that we can get the position of the asteroid to play the particle system at that position. So let's go asteroid that. Okay, so that's got rid of that error. So the next thing we want to do is we want to simply copy these two lines because they're going to be pretty much the same except for one or two things. So instead of getting the player position, we can just say asteroid.transform.position, and I think that's all we have to change for that. So we can go ahead and save that. So let's just go see the speed of asteroids quick before we start playing the particle system effect when we collide with an asteroid. So let's go play the game. And another thing we have to do is we still need to change the collisions between the asteroids because we don't really want them to stop like that. So that's is the speed even changing? Because it looks like it's still the same to me. Let's go and make that 20. I don't know. I don't even think it's changing, so maybe we've done something wrong there. But anyway, we'll leave that like that. Let's go and work on what's it called? Calling the asteroid destroyed whenever we collide with an asteroid. So what we're going to do is we want to say let's go and take some things off first. So we set play of the position to the player, create destroy asteroid function, play with the same two lines, yeah, position, call. Okay, so in our asteroids class we should have a on collision enter here. So what we want to do is before we destroy our asteroid, we want to call our player dies or asteroid destroyed method, so that when we shoot an asteroid we can go ahead and play this particle system. So we want to do that by doing the same thing we did in our player class when we call our player dies, so just like that. So instead of player dies, we're going to call game manager script dot asteroid destroyed. So to do that we need to copy some of these things. So first of all we need our wake method, so we'll copy this into here. Okay, so we already have our wake method, so I'm going to put this like this and then just delete that, just like that. So that should format that correctly. Cool, so I'm just going to say get game manager reference. We have an error here because we don't actually have these as references here, so let's go and copy them in from our player script. So we need game manager, game object, and game manager script. That's what we need. We'll copy those and paste them over there. So that error should disappear now, which it does, which means in our on collision enter 2D method here we can simply go and say game manager script dot asteroid destroyed, and then we need to pass in our asteroid. So we're just going to simply say this, because obviously this is an asteroid script and that is what we want to pass in, our asteroid. And obviously the asteroid script is only attached to an asteroid. So let's go and see if this works. If it does, that will be pretty much it from this episode, which is a lot shorter than I expected it to be, assuming this works. So let's go play the game. Now what we should see is we should see our asteroids not only getting destroyed, but as soon as we okay, so we need to drag in some things here. So what do we got? Game manager of asteroid, let's see, player. Did we do this right? Game manager, okay. Okay, so we didn't do that right. So we've got one line. So we haven't really assigned game manager. Okay, so what we need to do is, so this is going to be a bit of a problem. So because on our player class, or on our player, we actually have our player in our game, in our scene all the time, so we can simply drag in our game manager as a reference on our player script. but we don't really have that for an asteroid. So what we can do is we can go and add a tag onto our game manager. So let's go add a new tag and say game manager. So I'm going to copy that, and then what we can do, first of all, we need to go and attach that to our game manager. So we'll save that, and in our asteroid here, asteroid class, we can go, we can get rid of that because I don't know why I copied that. So we can go here and say game, did we copy it? Game manager, yeah, so game manager is equal to get component, or find object I can't remember how you do it, by what's it called, by tag, unity find object with tag. Okay, so let's jump in here and say game object dot find object with tag, and then we can simply say game manager like that. Cool, so that should be fine. So now that should work, hopefully. Now we should be able to find our game manager in the scene somewhere and assign our game manager script to our game manager script reference. So let's see if that works. So we can play the game, and this, we can still shoot, we get no errors. Okay, so that does work. So you can see that when we shoot our asteroids, you can see that particle system actually working. So let's see, destroy some asteroids. Cool. So that's working pretty good. Cool. So I think that is, where's, oh, here it is. That is pretty much it for, close that. I think that's it for this episode. As you can see, episode 9 complete. Everything has been ticked off. So episode 9 is complete. Episode 10, which is the next one, we're going to be working on our score. So we're going to add a reference to our score in the scene of the game, so you can actually see what your score is. And then obviously whenever we destroy some asteroids, we want to increase the score by a certain value depending on the size of the asteroid. And then in the final episode of the game, we are going to work on the game over menu. So it's not going to be very complicated. All it's going to have is a game over message, and then under that it's going to say please press enter, or please press the space button or whatever mouse button to carry on or restart the game. So that's it for this episode. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it and you're looking forward to the next episode, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on so that you get notified when the next episode comes out. But yeah, that's it for this episode. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
It's the first time of today. Today. To dream, believe. You are the strength, you're all I need. Oh, gonna give it a shot. Only one of me to shield you all from the enemy. You're a superhero. Can I be your superhero? I've been counting down the days to get out. I've been looking for a way from this town. And you're too far away.